I just Postmates taught Cheetos. This is not a drill. Alright, so today it is day 3 of 15 days of foundation. This is where I test out a new first impression. No, I do not test out a first impression. This is where I test out a new foundation every single day for 15 days. All of the info about 15 days of foundation will be linked down below in the announcement video if you want to go check that out. But today, we're throwing it back. I am so excited to test this out. This is the Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse Foundation. I mean, who remembers this thing? I was hardcore thinking about this, and the last time I have used this and put this on my face was over 10 years ago. This was one of the first foundations I ever used. I want to say it was in about 8th grade, so I'm super curious to try this out again and see what I think of it. I just thought it'd be fun to switch it up and do kind of an older product that no one really talks about anymore. This was actually weird timing because this morning I was on Instagram. First thing I saw was this meme. I will insert it right here. So I felt like this product was meant to be today. Today was the day to review this. Oh, I have new hair. Between me filming day 2 and day 3, I've actually been in San Diego the past few days visiting my family, and I got my hair done. I went to Brie at Autumn Houston. It's in downtown San Diego. She was awesome. I actually washed it for the first time since having it done, and the blue completely bled into the other colors, so now I have like mostly blue ends, but I'm kind of feeling it. But here's a picture that I posted on Instagram right after I got it done, so that's what it looked like at the beginning. But anyways, I feel like I had to get the hair out of the way. But onto the foundation. So I have no thoughts on this foundation. I do not remember what I think of it. I just know that it was one of the first products that I wore. But the fact that this has been around for over 10 years and they still carry this in the drugstore, I feel like that says something. People must still be buying this product. Looking on Ulta's website, this product retails for $8.99 and you get 0.64 ounces of product, so you do not get a full ounce of product. This comes in 12 shades. I have the shade Porcelain Ivory, which is the lightest shade. Light 1 is also what it says. So I'm going to insert swatches of this foundation compared to some of the other lightest foundations that I own right now. So swatch time right here is the Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse Foundation in the shade Light 1 Porcelain Ivory, the lightest shade. Next over is the Laura Geller Cover Lock Foundation in the shade Porcelain, which I did in yesterday's video. Natasha Denona Foundation X, which was day 1. Dermacol 208, Tarte Rainforest of the Sea in the shade Porcelain. Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless 110. And Pure Cosmetics Baradol in the shade Porcelain. I think that is the first time I've ever done swatches in one take. Can we get a hell yeah? It says it's a revolutionary whipped formula that provides airsoft perfect matte coverage with a weightless feel. Blends effortlessly for a soft, natural looking, even toned result. And that's all it says. Man, descriptions back in whatever year that was. Can we keep them brief like that one? That was great. So kind of their newer version, I guess, of this foundation would be the Maybelline Dream Velvet. I actually really don't like this product. This foundation did not work for me at all. Let me know if you guys want a separate review on this, probably during a Foundation Friday or something. So I'm curious to see if I like this one a little bit better. So those are all the claims. If you're excited for 15 days of foundation, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. I feel good right now. Feels really good to be filming. Sometimes you need to just step away, take a break. I need to remember that. If you want to see days 1 and 2, they are linked down below along with the playlist. Literally everything you ever want to know is always in the description box. So if you want to know what I think of the Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse Foundation and how it applies and wears throughout the day, you're in the right place. Just keep watching. Alright, so I'm super excited to film right now. I feel like that was a much needed break, feeling re-energized and pumped for 15 days of foundation. So I've already washed, moisturized, and primed my face, used my Laura Mercier foundation primer that I'm going to be using throughout this entire series. We have upgraded to a new Bath & Body Works candle lid. No idea where my other candle lid went. On one side of my face, I'm going to use the Morphe E31 foundation brush, and on the other side, my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. Smells like I remember. This is wild. Okay, so I'm just gonna dab on. I don't remember anything about this product. I don't remember how much coverage it has. Ooh. Feels extremely lightweight. Actually just got pretty good coverage. Under this lighting, the shade actually looks like it matches me pretty well now. It looks a little bit dark, but I like that it has a beige tone. At least it's not orangey or too pink or anything. I'm gonna add a little bit more to my forehead since that didn't cover a whole lot. I think back in the day, I used to apply this with my fingers. It's looking like medium coverage right now. I mean, you can still see redness and stuff coming through, but it evened out my skin tone really well. and it's sitting on my skin really nice. It looks a little bit dry on my forehead in certain areas, but on my cheek area and around my nose, it just looks very natural and smooth and kind of lightweight. It feels extremely lightweight, like it doesn't feel like I have anything on. I can't remember if this transfers. I feel like it does. I have vivid memories of like hugging boys in 7th grade and having my foundation transfer onto their t-shirts. Pretty sure that still happens. Okay, I'm gonna try and build this up, but let's go in on this side first and see what kind of coverage we can get with a sponge. I usually get better coverage with a sponge when I kind of put out the product on a palette first and then dip my sponge into it, so that's what I'm gonna do. It looks so bizarre on the palette. What does this look like? It looks like some kind of food. I actually remember using those triangle sponges, the white things. Oh, that just crumbled off. What is happening over here, folks? Whoa, I gotta zoom you in for this. Hopefully you guys can see this. There, it is legit crumbling on my face. Would not recommend with a sponge. This side looks much smoother, much more even. You smooth it out with your finger, but I don't think a sponge is gonna work with this one. Just kind of sticking onto the sponge. I'm gonna use my finger for the forehead and see what happens. I think I actually got a little bit better coverage on the forehead with my fingers. I'm really curious to see if this is gonna build at all. It feels like you're putting on a primer. Coverage off of one layer, I would say looks like solid medium. I mean, freckles and stuff are still coming through, but it actually looks and feels very natural right now while still kind of covering up my redness and evening out some of my acne and everything. I can't tell if I like it better with my fingers or the brush. I'm gonna try my fingers down here, see if it builds. It's definitely building. I feel like I am using a lot of product though. You really gotta blend this or else you're gonna get some patches. It's building a lot better than I thought it was going to. It actually hasn't really dried down. I thought it was gonna kind of dry to a powder, but it still feels kind of moussey. It's not building to full coverage, it's building to a high medium, but definitely got better coverage. Let's try this. Do I want to do the brush again? Try the brush on this side just to see if it builds with the brush. The brush applies it a lot quicker. It's kind of easier to blend out. Even though I'm rubbing, it's not really rubbing away any of the coverage. It is hard to blend out some of the edges with your fingers, so I'm gonna go back in with the brush. I wouldn't say this is super quick application. You really have to blend and make sure all of the edges are kind of smoothed in, because I'm still finding certain parts that are looking a little bit patchy. But overall, it's looking really smooth on my skin right now. Definitely a matte finish. I like the tone of it. It has kind of a beige tone. Hoping it doesn't oxidize. If this oxidizes, it will be too dark. But I think right now it's wearable. I think it looks pretty nice. Very smooth right now. I'm not getting a whole lot of texture on my forehead. Center of my forehead looks pretty good. So we're getting a late start today. I had some work I had to do this morning. So it's 11:40. I'm not going to powder my face with this one because it's matte and I just feel like that might be too much. So we're going to call the check-in time 11:40. I'm going to do the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. Okay, so it's now 12:11. So let's take a look at the foundation, then I'm going to tell you everything that's on the rest of my face. The only thing I noticed when I was applying this was that when I put on my concealer, I used the Tarte Shape Tape. Where are you? I put it away. I use the Tarte Shape Tape every day, and when I put that on, it got a little bit weird texture on top of the foundation, like when I pulled it down into this area a little bit. But I just went over it with a sponge, and it smooths out fine after that, and once I've set it with the powder under my eyes, it looks totally fine now. My powder products blended out totally fine on top of it. It has already oxidized. When I was in the bathroom mirror and just in this mirror in my room, not under the lights, it looks like it's almost gotten a bit more pink as it's been on for about a half hour now. And then the other thing I see is that on some of my dry patches on my forehead, it doesn't look super great. It doesn't look bad, but if your skin's on the dry side, this one probably isn't for you off the bat. So on the rest of my face, I used I used pretty much all Colourpop because they came out with a ton of new products from their, I don't even know if this is called their peach collection, but everything's peach. Start with contour. So I tried a different contour product. I actually tried to use the Maybelline Brow Drama 250 Blonde. This is an eyebrow palette. I just used this middle shade right here to contour and it worked fine. Then I went in with this Colourpop palette. I don't know what's going on with all of their palettes, but they don't have names on them unless I'm just totally spacing out and not seeing them. So I went in with this blush shade right here, which was extremely pigmented. You literally just need to like dab your brush in this. It's a tiny bit hard to work with when it's that pigmented, but I really liked this. This is the Super Shock Cheek in Forget Me Not. It's like this super pretty pink. It's all I'm wearing as a highlight. On my lid for this shimmery orange shade, I used Flipper, which is gorgeous. And then I used some of their matte shades. I have a whole video on the Colourpop press shadows. I think this was one from the 4-pan kit things. Also used another no-namer. If I can find which palette those came from, I'll put it down below. That's all the shadows I used for my eyelashes. I used my Pure Cosmetics Jet Setter. I'm in love with their false lashes. These are amazing. And then lips, I mixed Colourpop Knotty, which is one of my favorites, with Colourpop Jacquard. This one was like super intense orangey, so I mixed it with Colourpop Knotty to tone it down a tiny bit. So I'm gonna wear this throughout the day. The next check-in I do will be in natural lighting so you guys can see how it looks. I'll see you guys in a few hours. So it's now 5:30 p.m. so foundation's been on for almost 6 hours. So I am still very matte, which is nice. Eyebrows down, it looks the best. It looks really nice and smooth and matte. Not really creasing anywhere around my nose. It looks pretty good. I'm getting a tiny bit. Looks like it's a little bit heavy around my nose on this side. I don't think my forehead looks super good, but I think that's mostly because I have acne up here. I think if I didn't have a lot to cover up right now on my forehead, it would be looking better, because it does still look, if you just look at the foundation, acne aside, it looks pretty good. Not really separating or anything on the center of my forehead yet. Ooh, this camera's good. This is the new camera. You can see some dryness and stuff happening down here. Okay, whoa, when you get this close, wow, I can't even see that in the mirror. This camera's like picking up more than in real life. Keep in mind, this is very HD, very zoomed in, so in real life, you're not gonna see this kind of stuff, but it is not looking too great around my nose area. Here's very zoomed in on the center of my face, on my forehead. Just looks kind of average to me right now, so I'm just gonna keep wearing this throughout the night. I'm just gonna be editing until Dancing with the Stars is on. I'm literally only watching it because Nick is on from The Bachelor. So I will check back in with you guys at the end of the night. Okay, so it's now 11:07, so the foundation's actually been on for 12 hours. I just got sidetracked and here we are 12 hours later. So I just had a friend over and I just asked her what she thinks of the foundation and she thought it looked really good, and that was just now, so 12 hours aware. For 12 hours, I'm pretty impressed. There are definitely some areas like around my nose where it's not looking super great, but again, maybe that's the concealer, because on my forehead, it hasn't separated a whole lot. It hasn't gotten super oily. I usually get pretty oily by the end of the night, and this is not bad for me at all. To get up close, there are definitely some things going on, so I'm gonna zoom you guys in. This side looks really intense. Not horrible around my nose. Oil-wise, I think my forehead is pretty good. Separating a tiny bit right there. But for 12 hours, I've definitely had foundations that look worse at this point. I think if you want something that's matte and that has light to medium coverage, I think you would definitely get more light coverage if you just used less of this product. I don't like how I feel like I really had to work with this to blend it in, but it does feel extremely lightweight. It just kind of feels like my skin. When I touch my face, it's transferring a little bit. Forehead probably will. Yeah, forehead's transferring more because I'm oilier up there. I think I would wear this again once my skin is better, if I'm not breaking out, if I don't have a whole lot to cover up, because it doesn't sit very well on top of acne. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure you give this a thumbs up. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.